get set up for acrylic paint. So I am gonna pay close attention to this painting set up poster. I have already grabbed an apron because acrylic paint is permanent. If it gets on your clothes, it will stain it. So please wear an apron. I'm also gonna grab water, paint, a palette to work on, paper towels, brushes, and my paper. And then last but not least, I'm also gonna grab something to protect my table or my workspace. Here you can see that I have my apron. I'm selecting my table coverings. I think I'm gonna go with cardboard today. And then I'm going to grab some paintbrushes. You grab one or two and a water cup and fill that up with a little bit of water. You don't need to fill the whole cup up, just enough to rinse your brushes out. And then a few paper towels to dry my brushes off while I'm painting. This is where you'll find all the acrylic paints. We have the 3 primary colors, white, black, and brown. I'm using these magazine pages as my paint palette. I'm going to stack 2 pages on top of each other to add stability to my paint palette. And then I'm going to pour out just little piles of paint onto my paint palette. I'm trying to use as little paint as possible on my paint palette. You can always go back for more, but you can't put it back into the bottle once you've poured it out. These paint mixing cups are great for mixing larger batches of paint if you know you're going to be painting a larger area. So you can mix up your colors in them and put the lids on and then leave them for students to use once you're finished using them. Here is my workstation all set up. You can see that everything is contained on the table covering. So to start painting, I'm going to just wipe the excess water off on the side of my water cup, never tapping or banging it on the side of the water cup, and then dry it off on my paper towel. And then I can start mixing my colors directly on my paint palette. I'm using my paintbrush to mix the colors, and I'm trying to be really careful not to get the paint on my table covering and just keep all of the paint on my paint palette. If I'm trying to keep my colors really opaque, I am going to be really careful to not add any extra water into my acrylic paint as I'm mixing it, and that's also why I took time to dry off my brush before I started mixing my colors. I'm going to rinse out my brush completely in order to switch colors to white. I need a really clean brush, and I'm going to take time to wipe the extra water off, not tap it on the side of the water cup, and then dry it off with my paper towels so the brush is completely clean and has no acrylic paint left on it, and then I can switch to a new color. The first step of cleaning up is putting your artwork on the drying rack under your class's spot. Then I'm going to fold my paint palette up and any paper towels that have paint on it and then throw them away in the trash can. Next, I'm going to pre-rinse my paintbrushes in my water cup to get most of the acrylic paint out before I even start washing them in the sink. Dump my water out really carefully, give my brushes another pre-rinse, and that kind of helps clean the cup out. And then I'm also going to hit the sides and make sure that there's no paint left on my water cup. Next, I'm going to take some hand soap and really take my time scrubbing out the bristles of my brush and the palm of my hand using this soap. The reason that this step is so important is that when acrylic paint dries, it hardens into plastic. So if there's any acrylic paint left in the bristles of the brush, it will ruin the paintbrush. When I'm sure there's no acrylic paint left on the brush, then I can put it brush side up back in the paintbrush cup. Then I'm going to put my table covering away back on top of the splatter paint booth. Then I'm going to take a damp paper towel and wipe down my workspace, scrubbing off any paint that was left behind on accident. When you're all done, don't forget to take your apron off and hang it back on the hook. These paintbrushes were not cleaned out properly and the acrylic paint was left in them overnight to dry, and now they are ruined. It is very important that you clean up after yourself all the way at the acrylic paint center and leave it better than you found it. If the acrylic paint center is left a mess, we will close it for the rest of the semester. Baby wipes and these paint wipes are really great for cleaning up dried paint that has gotten on the tables and the floors. And that's it, guys. Thanks for watching.